just wait for people to join. Hi guys, welcome back after our little break. I'm just going to wait for some people to join on to the stream before we get going. So let's just wait a little while before we get everything back up again. Hi to everyone that's joined. Please do share this feed by clicking the aeroplane down the bottom, and then you can send it to everybody or just whack it on your social media as well. So for those of you just joining in, we've just been doing Meet the Retailer episode with Grit and Grace Dancewear. And we're also now going to have some fun because we're going to do a little part where we're going to show you all about Nikolay pointe shoes, but also show you them on a dancer. And we will answer as many questions as we can regarding Nikolay products, but also the fitting of shoes. So if you have any questions, you can pop them below and we will get round to them in a bit. So let's just pop up with Grit and Grace now. 1 second. By the way, guys, hey, welcome back. I just wanted to mention also that the Nikolay brand is only available through US retailers. That's very important for you guys to know. So please remember that. So we're back now with Grit and Grace. And also another part I just want to go through, you guys, is the main reason why the brand name has changed, for those of you wondering, if you probably don't know yet, maybe, is we wanted to provide the full range of the capabilities of Grishko as a brand, which is now Nikolay to US. And please make sure that when you've got your pointe shoes, that they are the authentic made in Russia pointe shoes. So on the bottom of the sole, let me just grab a shoe. What you will see is made in Russia on the bottom, not handmade. So be sure to look out for the made in Russia. It will say Nikolay on your shoes, not the Grishko bit, by the way, but it will say Nikolay and it will also say made in Russia. If they say handmade or anything to do with China, they are fakes. So please get the real deal and remember to get your real Nikolay pointe shoes. You need to be working with getting them from, you know, US retailers of Nikolay. Please remember, so important. Okay, so we're back with Grit and Grace. For those of you just joining in, you can rewatch the last part of the stream. I will save it and upload it later. So let's see what we're going to do here. Let's show them all that shoe that you've got with the cut, you know, cut in half shoe.
The ones that we dissected?
Yeah.
So this is a training tool, education tool that we recently started using with our customers, basically to show them the inside of a pointe shoe. So this one is a Russian-made Nikolay shoe.
Yeah.
And we dissected it right down the middle.
Amazing.
So you can see that the different layers, what it looks like. And this is a brand new shoe. This is one that has not been used before. And you see the different components of the shoe, of the pressed leather and cardboard material. The thicker part here, I think Peter is online. He can remind me. This is
we got some notes earlier. I just got my notes up for you now. Hang on.
This is the Russian made, like almost like a pressed board.
Yeah, so basically you guys, I learned something interesting today as well, is they use a very special Russian fiber.
Yeah,
and
Russian
it has
fiber.
very specific purposes. And do you know what? It's even used in Russian aircrafts. How cool is that?
Yes, and it's the only place else it's used, from my understanding. Yes. So manufactured for pointe shoes and Russian-made aircraft. That's a great little tidbit to know about your pointe shoe.
Right, and in the actual shanks, I don't know how much you guys know about the shanks in Nikolay pointe shoes, but there's so many shank varieties, not only in strength, but also the construction. Now, this is a traditional, what I would deem as a traditional Nikolay shank. So it's from the 3007 model. And inside there, you can see all those fine layers. Now, remember, there's so many strengths to choose from, which is fantastic because it means we can also cater to many strengths of foot as well. But if you look inside here, look how cool it is, and look how amazingly made it is as well, right? The quality too.
It is, and you can see how it, you know, it's thinner with the paste in the cotton, the bleached cotton lining in the top. The
Yes.
here,
in the another good thing is there's so much difference in box paste as well. So in the traditional box, you have the bleached cotton with the burlap and the jute. Plus, they have at the factory a highest quality paste, which has secret ingredients, by the way.
Right.
And not only is there that paste that's used there in that model, but also in the other models they can vary. So, for example, we have flexible paste, semi-flexible paste, even Tropicana paste, which is for the humid climates. And in the Tropicana paste, it's basically traditional paste, but it has one added component for that. And not forgetting, of course, the thermoform materials used in such models as Dream Point pre-arched, and Super Triumph pre-arched.
Exactly. So this is something new for us. We just recently did this. Our customers know we've been talking about it for a year, that I wanted to have this. And so we do have this available in all the different brands that we carry. So we'll start using this to educate.
It's such a good idea.
It is. And I mean, if you're going to be wearing the shoe, you need to know how it's made. You need to know why it's important to take care of it. With you know, the moisture from your feet and the way that the shoe breaks down. A lot of new families don't understand why point shoes break down. So this is
that's very important to educate them about that.
Right. So this is something fun, and we're excited to start introducing this to our new point shoe students.
Another thing to mention about the Nikolay factory in Russia is the fact that all the point shoes are handmade. Yes. And before they even leave the factory, they are all properly checked before they even get to you. There is a really high standard, and the quality control is like incredible.
Exactly.
So,
another thing that we do too, Leanne, that I wanted to point out.
Oh, show us.
Instrumental in our education process, like I mentioned on our feed prior, is that every new student gets a point shoe packet that we put together. So it contains obviously our contact information, information as well. But we include the anatomy of the shoe, how to sew your shoe, different versions of me.
Oh, this is so cool.
Training exercises. We're really big on TheraBand exercises.
Yes.
With a point shoe student, you can obviously tell, as you know, from a fitter as well, you can tell the students who do them and those who don't.
Yes.
And, so we give them different exercises to try. Injury prevention. We also include contacts for local physical therapists that we refer students to as well from our local area.
That's such a good idea.
Specifically with dancers. This has been a great thing. It's something that the parents can have that's tangible, they can hold, and they can read about what their daughter is doing.
Oh my God, you've inspired me, because I give out like a form with details on it, but this whole little package thing, I am totally down with that. That is so amazing.
That's great, because they can keep whatever information they need in there. Something that they can read and just learn more about their daughter's craft. Sometimes when we have a new parent in with a new student with a point shoe fitting, we don't have them go up on the shoe, but we'll even have the parent try on the point shoe just so they can see what it feels like.
I do that sometimes too.
Yeah, it helps quite a bit with the education.
Yeah, so it really does. Absolutely.
Recommend a point shoe kit that we recommend for everyone to have. This is one of my favorite bags, so we put this together today for the live feed.
Oh, cool.
Saying it's hysterical. So we can't all be the queen. Someone has to bow when I walk by.
This is amazing.
But we want to recommend that everyone, you know, they have their lamb's wool and that just popped out. Lamb's wool, scissors. We recommend training balls for their sewing kit, extra ribbons, extra elastic, Band-Aids, tape, and of course, jet glue.
Yeah.
Just as something, this is more so for retailers, but for any dancer on there watching that might be new, these are certain things that you might want to consider getting as well.
That's a really good idea.
Or at least have it in your dance bag.
Yes, definitely. Oh, this is great.
Thanks.
So why don't we show some why don't we show some shoes now?
Okay. So we're going to start. We have Ashlyn, and we are social distancing correctly. She actually is my daughter. So
yeah, sure.
So I'm going to take over. We're going to have Miss Kelly pull out some shoes, at least hand on me. And we already did a rough sizing for her so that we could save some time so we can do the comparison.
Yeah.
I would like to say that she's in college now. She hasn't danced on pointe for a year. So this would be great for someone who might consider, might be going back to pointe, hasn't had the strength that they're used to in the past, or especially with the time that we've had off. I can't emphasize enough, your feet are changing. You have to go visit your dance store retailer and have us look at your feet when we reopen.
Yes.
Another store, because your feet are going to be different than they were back at the middle of February. So this will be a good way to determine that. I can tell her feet are quite different from the last time that she's gone on pointe as well. So I'm going to take over, and Miss Kelly's going to go take some shoes. So this is Ashlyn.
Hi.
Okay. I'm going to have her actually pull off her, you step on the mat for us, pull off her, pull up your tights and your toe pads so you can see the shape of her feet, the length of her metatarsals, her width.
Yeah.
One thing that we do too is we spend a lot of time talking to students, educating them on why we measure. Can you pull up your tights for us? Measure their feet, their width, the height, the apex of their arch. One thing that we focus on too, a lot of people aren't aware, is that you actually have 3 arches in your foot. Most fitters, can you do for me, are focused on the medial march.
Yes, very true.
Come back down, but we also want to focus on the lateral.
Yeah, absolutely.
Lateral arch, which is where most of the injuries occur, and then also on the transverse. So we talk about that when we're fitting shoes. So this is Ashlyn's feet. I'm going to practice. You get a good look?
Yeah, I can see that.
And she measures about a size 7 to 7.5.
Yep.
And do you want
so that's a 4 to 4.5 UK for you guys in the UK watching.
Right.
Nice.
Okay. She's dying right now that we're showing her feet on.
Nice ankle flexibility there. That's good.
Yeah. So she has your standard toe pad. So we're going to have her put those back on. And we are going to start. You tell me where you would like to start. We have pulled out right now. We have the Alice, the Maya, the Nova, and the Dream Point 2007.
Could we actually start with the Alice? Because I'd like to show more people about the Alice, because not many people stock it, to be honest. So for you guys who are curious about the Alice model, let me just grab one of my own so I can show you in detail a little bit more about it. 1 second. So a lot of people don't know about the Alice model, so this is going to be really cool for us both to show you about it. With the Alice model, it's for like beginner pointe students. It's based on the 2007 last. It is very flexible, so it's mostly designed for bar work or extremely minimal center work because it's very flexible. It has a brushed lining inside here, and the paste is not taken up so stiffly, so it's got quite a flex at the top half of the box there. So the weight distribution on the foot is more kind of gentle, if that makes sense. So it's a really good shoe for the younger student who is progressing to pointe work, who won't be doing a great deal of pointe work, for example. It's also wonderful for lighter weight dancers because the shank, of course, is very flexible. So you wouldn't want to put a dancer that is like super tall in it, for example, because it carries only so much on the shank there. As you can see, it looks just like the 2007 shape in the box here. Yeah, so let's take a look.
Okay, so we just have her standing flat right now. One thing that we always make sure is even if they're sickling when they're flat, that's not a good sign.
Of course.
Make sure that they're able to find their center flat as well. Okay, so I'm going to follow your lead, and you tell us what you would like to see, because I know this is not a normal fitting that we would do. But,
Sure.
we want to kind of show the differences between the shoes.
Obviously, we always check the length, right? So we want to make sure that you guys that are watching that maybe not on point yet, we want to ensure that your foot is flat in the shoe. We're not bending our toes and we're not overlapping our toes. It's very crucial.
Nice and flat, touching. Nothing overlapping on the sides as well.
Perfect. It looks really nice to me from here. Then everyone does this differently, but personally for me, I go to parallel like you are right now, and I will get the dancer to step up with the right foot first of all, and then obviously tell her to hold on, and then step up with the next foot and think about pulling up with all she's got, making sure her legs are nice and straight and that her body weight is all positioned correctly. Make sure she's on her big toes, not sickling. Let's have a look from the back.
So what I do too, a lot of times, she's twisting a little bit.
Sure.
I like to pull down the shoe so we
can
see how the shank positions.
Yeah, so then you can really see what's going on. So for you guys wondering why some fitters might do this, is we want to check that where the shank is sitting, why we're getting this twisting happening. And twisting of a point shoe, it can be down to so many factors, and I will do you a video about this soon because I have so much to say about it.
Right. So you can see she's twisting on the right.
Mm-hmm.
Quite a bit. Sometimes the twisting can be fixed with, it's just a little shift in the shoe.
Mm-hmm.
But the right, that's a pretty bad twist. All right. Are you able to balance? Now we are kind of progressing through this quickly. We do a lot of, different positions.
Of course, same.
First, second, grand plie, all of that stuff. Down. So we're just going to kind of go through. I'm going to have her go ahead and passe with your right. So it stays in place.
Oh yeah, it's much better.
There you go.
So sometimes, guys, with the twisting of the shank, it can be how the shoe actually went on the foot initially as well, by the way. So always make sure that when you're putting your point shoes on, you always put them on straight. Don't put them on funkily. And yes, Peter just mentioned you can switch the shoes, which is also another good thing to do because they're handmade, no two shoes are the same.
Exactly. And what we do also with our dancers that dance multiple days a week on point for several hours, most people are not aware that their feet are different size, whether it's a different length or a different width. And we always recommend to extend the life of your point shoes, especially if you're dancing at least 3 days a week, plus you have rehearsals on Saturdays, is you should rotate your shoes by buying 2 or 3 pairs.
I always recommend that too.
At that point, you can fit to the left foot and we can fit to the right foot.
Yes, good idea.
We always do that. We have several customers that do that. So in a case like this one, I mean, this might be able to be, okay, but you need to go out that extra width in the box in order to help relieve that twisting on the back of the right foot.
Yeah.
And that might help.
So let's just show what the general look of this shoe looks like as well, by the way, just in terms of model. So maybe show from the side while she's on point so we can see how the shank works with the arch as well. Yep, that's a good angle. Excellent.
So you see back here, like this is not, I'm picky and don't like
Me
this.
too.
It's a little short, I think.
Sometimes, guys, if you see this happening in your shoes, sometimes it's not always to do with the size. It's sometimes to do with the fact that the cut of the fabric is too high for your heel.
Exactly.
So sometimes we switch to a model with a shorter heel, or sometimes, if they still really like that model, we can custom it and get the heel cut down as well. Because some people have such narrow heels that they'll always get this excess fabric no matter what correct size they're in the shoe.
Right. And she does have a narrow heel.
I've got that too.
So that's the hour. You want to turn and face the camera so we can see?
Yeah, let's see from the front as well. That's important. So as you can see, she's nicely over on both feet, which is great. Turn out to first position as well. Good stuff. She's really pulled up. So can you guys see, people that don't fit shoes that are watching this, can you see how her metatarsals are very held tightly in these, and she's pulling, she can pull upwards. She's got this lovely rotation in the ankles as well. Now, Unfortunately, some dancers don't have equal rotation in both ankles, and if you don't worry, there are things workarounds for that. But we always want to make sure that the dancer is getting over enough. We're not pulling backwards, we're not bananaing over, we're getting that nice stable alignment. How does it feel to you, by the way, in the shoes? How comfortable does it feel? Any pain?
Good. I like them a lot.
They look good. They're a great beginner shoe for sure. They're not a shoe that I would, just to let everybody know about the Alice, they're not a shoe that I would put someone who isn't a beginner in, because it is very, very soft, and the box is softer. So it's not going to have, you know, it's not a shoe that I would put someone in who isn't a beginner. Also, bear in mind, if you are a beginner with stronger feet or very flexible ankles, this shoe probably wouldn't work. It's not like for every beginner, like any point shoe out there, but it is absolutely wonderful for beginners that, you know, need a shoe that is great for bar and a little bit of centre work as well. Yeah, so let's have a look at some questions here, because we had a few and I just want to make sure we get to them. Feel free to come back down and we can try some other shoes in a second. That'd be wonderful. So let me go through these. Baby Cat says, I have a question. My shoes often slip off my heels and they leave blisters. How do I actually help that without ordering a different size? Well, there's a number of things that the reason why your heels could be slipping. There's remedies for that. But what bothers me about this question is you're telling me you're getting blisters. You shouldn't be getting the blisters. Are the blisters on your heel? If they are, it could be to do with the size of the shoe or the cut of the heel piece. Also, what padding you wear in your shoe determines the size and the width of your shoe. That's also crucial. So if you keep playing around with padding, you're adding extra to the shoe and making it tighter. So if that happens, you're putting more pressure on the heel, and that is how you could end up with a blister also. But I actually did a video on YouTube all about heel slipping off, so you could also watch that. But to give you some quick remedies, elastic placement, ribbon placement, the type of elastic you use, the type of ribbon you use, making sure you've got the tightness for your ankle, because everyone's ankles are different thicknesses. We want to also ensure the demi point of the shoe is broken enough, because if it isn't, when you roll through, the force will cause the heel to pop. If you've got disappearing heels, you will have more of a problem with the heel staying there. You can also try heel grips that stick in the heel piece. You can try rosin, you can try water. I've even got dancers that do the trick that I'm not very into, but they cut a piece out of their heels at the back. I say that's a desperate measure. It's not one that I personally would go about doing normally. But those are some top things that tend to work for my dancers, and even for me, because I'm one of those that has that issue also. But please let us know where the blisters are, because this could be just to do with the model of shoe you're wearing, or the sizing, or the width. Anything you could add to that? Have I missed anything? Because obviously we all know different things.
I would recommend getting a refit. A lot of times that's an indication your shoe is too short, and it's something to definitely go back and have them do a new measurement and try just going up a little bit in size.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it's just like you mentioned earlier, it's just changing the width a little bit.
Yeah, and also don't forget that no two feet are the same, and yes, you can get dancers, of course, with a size difference between feet. So if you're feeling it happen more on one foot than the other, make sure that you're fitting both feet. If you've got to buy 2 pairs at once, or you can do a custom order like I do for my customers, if they don't want to buy 2 pairs at once, we do one shoe, one size, one the other. And thank you for the nice comments, by the way, in the feed. I really appreciate it. Let's see what else we've got here. Just scrolling. Bill says hi.
Hi, Bill. Kelly told me to say hi.
Let's see. Also, another good thing I forgot to mention is in the 3007 model, they have the heel grip piece. Let me just grab you a shoe. You can probably ask for this in custom. At the moment, the only shoes that have the heel grip piece are the 3007 Smart Point. Karcher doesn't have it, but someone mentioned that they do. So in the 3007, they have this material, which is like a microfiber. So this also helps for heel slippage. They have it in Smart Point as well. They don't have it in the other models yet, but I'm sure you could also request it in special if you wish to try it. So that's another good tip. Any other question? Oh, someone's asked what toe pads do you recommend? Well, personally, I'm a bit different to most people. I like to fit with minimal in the shoe because I like to fit to the foot. So typically speaking, I will use an advanced toe pad, also known as a pro pad, which is gel on top, fabric underneath. However, I also like to fit just by taping the toes and using a gel toe cap. You have to work with your fitter with what is going to, first of all, we want to fit to your foot, okay? So please don't obsess about having tons of padding in the shoe. I can't tell you how bad that is for you, because not only are we not going to get a good fitting shoe, but you're not going to be able to feel anything. You're not going to be able to roll through your shoes correctly, and it's going to also hinder your technique. So, you know, when the shoe is right, not only will it look to your foot and feel comfortable, but also you'll be able to roll through correctly and articulate your feet, every single part of your foot. So that's my personal take on it. You know, I've got some dancers that use a cut-up sock. I've got some that use a paper towel. Some that just toe tape a no gel toe cap. It really is different for so many people. And don't forget, if you need toe spacers and everything like that, work with your fitter, because feet should be healthy in pointe shoes. What do you have to add to that?
I would add, you can also take, you mentioned lamb's wool. You can use the tape to make your own little toe pad with lamb's wool. And that's reusable. You don't have to toss that after every use. Until it loses its pliability, you can continue to use it. One thing that I would like to add that we're starting to see a lot of, and it really concerns me, is that do-it-yourself toe pad kit that is out on the market.
Oh, I know the one you're on about.
Yes.
I can't stand that.
Do not waste your money buying that.
No.
It's absolutely horrendous.
Thank you for saying this, because I was waiting for other fitters to agree with me on this.
Yes, it actually breaks my heart, because it is just a waste of money. I had a customer came in that had like this much thickness of a toe pad before her foot was even, she couldn't touch the end of the box.
Oh my God.
And then it changes the fit of the shoe.
Yeah.
And then you're going to have to buy a new pair of shoes, or go back to your old foot. So toe pads are actually, I find it a very useful tool in fitting as well, because if you just have a little tweaking to do, changing the toe pad is great.
Yeah.
Lots of different ways that we can work with that, and maybe just get that little tip that you might have with a pointe shoe
also, I just thought of something else, and that is the fact that you know, think about your foot shape as well. A good fitter will analyze your bare feet. This is crucial, guys. I've been for fittings myself all over the world now. Fitters that don't know what they're doing, who need better education, will literally just look at you in your ballet tights. They won't ask to see your bare feet. That's bad, because you cannot see what is going on under there. Yeah. You know, you can miss wherever someone's got spaces between their toes, any bruised toenails, any old injuries, bunions, extra bones somewhere. You know, there's so much that can go on. So make sure that when you are going to be fitted, that they look at your bare feet. Honestly, it is a major importance to pointe shoe fitting.
It is. And sometimes you want to have the dancer go in barefoot too, especially for a new student that is not familiar with what they're supposed to be feeling, what they're looking for. You know, as a fitter, you cannot see inside that shoe as much as we wish we could. You know, some have a natural tendency to curl their toes, whatever. But once you have the toe pad on, if they're not sure what they're feeling, I always have them take off the toe pads and let's fit without the toe pads, so you can get that sensation. You can get that new sense that you're having to develop in a shoe, and then we'll work from there. And I think that saves a lot of time sometimes.
Yeah, you are right, actually. So always start minimal and build up, guys. I can't stress that enough. It makes such a difference. And if you find that you want to try a narrower width for a wider width, and you don't feel comfortable, please reach out to your fitter and ask about that. Because I see sometimes, unfortunately, when I get people come to me in bad fitting shoes, they are often just stuffed in a wide shoe because they didn't have anything narrow available, which is obviously bad. Or the opposite, they're stuffed in a narrow shoe when they didn't have wider. Baby Cat has asked, what do you recommend for a disappearing heel? So personally, for me, I often, if I want it totally perfect and I'm not able to do that through the shoes on the shelf, I will do a custom order. And what I tend to do there is I measure, we figure out the model first, and I measure exactly how much we're going to cut down from the heel and how we're going to make it to fit to that dancer's foot. With a narrow heel, with disappearing heels as well, if you don't want to go the custom route, if you're a dancer who's still growing and you don't want custom shoes, you can play around with elastics. You can try heel grippers. You can try even like tweaking the heel yourself, which is what some professionals do. They actually fold it, pin it, and tack it themselves. It might not look as beautiful, but it means that you don't have to keep ordering custom shoes whilst you're still growing, which I never really recommend customs if you're growing unless it's absolutely we have to. You also want to opt for obviously shoes that are more sleeker to the heel. If you go for a shoe with a longer heel, of course it's going to make the problem even worse. Do you have anything to add to that? I might have missed something.
I've seen some that sew a little elastic loop in the back so that they can crisscross their ribbons through.
Oh, do you know what? Actually, dance physios here in the UK advise against that because they say it puts pressure on the Achilles. But it's interesting because I've noticed in America, when I've been to point classes there, I've seen some girls doing that. So it could just be new information that physios have learned that it's not a good thing to do. But they used to do it a lot years ago as well, because I've seen pictures from professional dancers from years ago that do that. Let's have a little look. So Carly J.
Leanne, what shoe would you like us to do next? I can go ahead and
let's put some Novas on actually.
Okay. That's your favorite.
Oh, is it? I saw a lot of Novas too. So Carly J says, hi, I'm currently using Novas, but my right foot looks like it's sickling. Any tips? So first of all, what I would do is I would look at you barefoot and see if it's something that your feet are doing before we think about shoes. If your feet aren't doing it, then okay, it's likely a shoe problem. So I would analyze the way that your shoe is broken down. Sometimes it can be to do with the width. Your one foot is wider or narrower. Sometimes it can be to do with a size difference in length that is making your foot wing out. Sometimes it can be due to do with the strength of the outer ankle and your alignment itself. Sometimes it can be to do with the fact that you're wearing out one shoe quicker than the other and you're losing support and it's making your alignment out of whack. I can't really tell you exactly without seeing, but I would say go and see your fitter and get them to analyze that, and also ask your teacher, see if she notices anything in your normal technique class that you might be doing that might be making the shoe wear out unevenly, or to do your technique, see if you've got any areas that you need to work on strength wise. Because commonly when I see sickling, it's actually mostly people's left foot.
Interesting. Why do you think that is?
I think it's because mostly a lot of dancers I meet tend to favor their right side. And even myself, my strongest side is my right. So when dancing, they are favoring one side of their body more than the other. So then we're not building equal strength. So if you're watching and you're not on point yet, I can't tell you how crucial it is to build equal strength for your whole body. And we're not just talking feet and ankles, we're talking knees, we're talking hips, we're making sure we're aligned correctly. Always working both sides equally as much as possible.
Right. Okay, so we have the Novas on. Now this is not a shoe, obviously, that I would not put her in this shoe. But
sure.
You can see she's kind of moving out a little bit at the top. The profile of her foot, I don't think.
Oh yeah, this is a good thing. We should tell people about this. So with profile height, the profile height or crown height is the side of the shoe here.
Right.
If it's too low, you'll get what happens here where we're starting to ooze. Can you see that, guys?
Right here.
See that? So if you're doing that in your shoes, it's likely to do with the profile height here.
And this is a great example too of the two different sizes. You can see on her left foot, she protrudes a little bit more.
Yeah, I can see that.
Than on the right.
Wow, it's really interesting, isn't it? What differences you can get between your feet.
Exactly.
Also, another opposite is profile height being too high. So if the profile height is too high, you'll be able to stuff your fingers down the front of the shoe whilst it's on your foot. But also it can be minimal to the effect that when you go on point, you start to crunch your toes or you slide downwards. So always make sure that the profile height grips you, but doesn't grip you so much so it's got to be a nice hug around your foot. Not too tight, but not loose either. Because of course the shoe breaks down and it gets bigger as it gets worn. So it's very important to have it all working together. Yeah, so carry on. Let's see these.
Okay, so we're going to go ahead and just have her prop up on point. Step up. Again, she has a little bit of the twisting on the right.
Mm-hmm.
A little bit more on the left as well compared to the Alice. And, you know, this is attributed to, we already know that the profile of the shoe is not the best.
So guys, this is another important thing why the shoe could twist, is it can be the profile height, which from here I would say it's mostly profile height that is causing this issue right here that we've got going on. This is great because we really get to show people why we get these problems.
Right, and what we look for. And also, I think this shoe is just a little too narrow for her.
Yeah, also, the box shape, it could be a little bit too tapered as well. Oh, it's frozen. Oh, it's back again.
All right, would you like to see her facing for you?
Yeah, let's have a look at some different angles.
Put your feet together in parallel.
Oh, so also in these, if you guys can notice, she falls back a little bit in the shoe. Yeah. Now, this is not only not to do with what most people think is a common. Whenever someone sees this, they think it's the vamp height or they think it's a shank strength. But here, what I would personally say is it's mostly the profile height that is squishing her and pulling her backwards. So she can't fully articulate her ankles.
Exactly. And you can also see just from this, you know, we look at the alignment, for the whole alignment of the body, and you can see that she's not being pulled in, lifted up in this shoe.
No. Turn up to first, just be careful. Yeah, so you can see she's quite off whack in these.
Yes.
But this is great to show you guys that even though you have what you might think be the right size width shoe in general, that how these little differences make a big difference to you on point. Now, if this dancer was to be in these shoes, not only would it feel a bit uncomfortable, but also it's going to affect her technique and her balance and her alignment.
Alignment, and I also start to worry about the tendonitis on those arches we talked about earlier, because she's having to compensate for this lateral arch, and that is where that tendonitis starts. That will go up to your knees, and then you will end up with hip flexor tendonitis, and that can be very damaging and no dance for a while. So go ahead.
I see in the UK, unfortunately, a lot of dancers come to me that are further back than this on point, and they've been carrying on like it for so long, and the teachers don't even realize that it's the shoe. They blame the dancer. And of course, thankfully, I managed to remedy it, because usually it is the shoe. So guys, if you are struggling like this and you're pulling backwards, for example, I get dancers come to me that are literally, not kidding, like that. And okay, on some cases it is the dancer, but more often than not, it's the shoe. So if you are struggling, don't suffer like that, because like Stephanie's just mentioned, we can end up with Achilles tendonitis, but also tendonitis further up the body, and all sorts of problems, not only to do with damaging yourself, but also with your technique and your alignment.
And I also want to point out that this is her foot in this shoe. Not every Nova is going to do this for every person. You have to find the right fit in the profile and the length and the height of the wings, you know, the box shape, all of that.
Absolutely.
This is why you can't just go and order shoes online and think, my friend wears the Nova, so I'm going to wear it too, because her feet look beautiful in the Nova.
Thank you for saying that. That's so important.
It's a wonderful shoe. It's just not
hers. No, exactly. And remember that, guys, with social media, the problem is there's a lot of people that see a shoe on somebody else and they say that, oh, you know, this will be a great shoe on me as well, because they seem to think they have similar feet. But that's, seriously, go and get fitted. Honestly, you know, all shoes come up differently.
Okay. So we're going to take those off. And then what would you like to see next?
What have you got again?
We can do the Dream Point.
Yeah, let's do that. We should show them that one.
Mark Point. The Maya will be an interesting one to see too, because the profile of that is so different from the Nova.
Yes, indeed.
So let's do the Dream Point.
I'll just grab a Dream Point too, so I can talk to them a little bit about it.
You do that, and I'll have her get these on.
Yeah. So for you guys that don't know, Dream Point comes in Dream Point Standard and Dream Point 2007 pre-arched, also known as Allure. And we're showing you the Dream Point 2007, which is the pre-arched model. This one is built on 2007 last as well, but the differences are it has the thermo shanks. Now these shanks are made with thermo materials, which means that they mold to your foot by heat. And as you can see, it's got a very defined pre-arched area. These must not be broken in by hand. Your foot will do the work. They are quite a ready-to-wear shank. They come in soft flexible, medium flexible, hard flexible, super hard flexible. And in this model, we also have this gorgeous velour material on the inner sole, very soft, and a little tiny foam bit in the bottom there. It also features a nice, comfortable elastic paste. Can you see it's got a nice squish? So it's not as hard as a traditional Nikolay paste shoe. It also has a really lovely high wing, so it gives very good lateral support, a very deep U-cut vamp, and the platform is broad. It's very nice and rounded. Can you see that? So great for balance. It also has a nice scoopy high heel, which is very smooth, and the satin is like double upper, so it's really sleek on the foot. It also has silent technology, so it means that when you're on point, you know, like if you're doing a karoo, for example, it doesn't make as much noise because it has silent knot technology in the platform and the pleats here. It's one of my personal top selling models. Compared to the standard one that we had, I personally much prefer this version. I will answer some more questions in a moment, so feel free, if you've got some, put them up and we'll do our best to answer as many as possible. So right now we've got them on, so let's take a peek.
Okay, so she's tending to, there she goes. She just self-corrected. She was winging a little bit.
These are Dream Point 2007, someone just asked me.
They are. And again, I just pulled out shoes. So if we need to modify, you know, and I purposely did not have, you know, fit her in every single pair.
Yeah, that's fine.
So, you know, on this particular one, I might go up maybe a half a length on her left foot. She definitely measures different on her right and her left, and she always has. So she's definitely a half size different in her left than her right. And you can see that I can't give here. You always want to have a little bit of a pinch back here, because when they roll down, their foot has to flatten out. It goes at the longest length. And you see, it's just like, it's very painful. And again, too short of a shoe causing pressure will cause injury.
Absolutely.
We have a different scenario on the right. We have the right length on the right. This is what we're looking for.
Could you just go down with that right foot to show us the difference in how it is on flat as well?
Yes, go down.
Yeah, much better. I'm
going to pull down the heel cup so we can see shanks.
So this shank is actually sitting on her a lot better, you guys. I don't know if you can see that. And often the reason for that with the Dream Point 2007 is because it's so pre-arched, it wants to suck into your arch even more so to create that alignment.
Here we go. No, we want to see the arch. See how this shank, it moves with her, the apex of her arch. She breaks further back here. So this is a great fit for the right foot.
Absolutely.
As her foot will articulate through the shoe, and the natural movement with the shank flows with it.
Absolutely. And can you see, guys, how she's over now? Her ankle pushes forward to create that line that we want to see. We always want to make sure you're going with the shoe. The shoe isn't fighting with you.
Right.
Can we see from parallel from the side, please? Much more over.
Yes.
And now let's pop the heels back on and do from the front in parallel.
And you can see how she's being pulled up out of the shoe. Her alignment is nice and straight in the back.
And can you see what profile height difference makes, you guys? Look, because now the profile height is a little bit roomier in these compared to Nova. She's not been squeezed so drastically that it's putting her backwards. Should we go to first position? So much more over, it's way better.
Yeah. It's a great fit. Like I said, I would tweak the left.
Of course.
But if you have someone who is not able to purchase 2 different sizes at one time, you always want to fit to the larger foot. And we can do some things with the foot that would need a little bit more padding. Maybe we use a different toe pad in that foot.
I sometimes use size changer inlays. They're like a little, many brands do them, but they basically sit in the box and they take up a little bit of room so we can play around.
We use those too, and that would be the first thing that I would do if this customer came in and only needed the 1 pair, would be to put a liner inside the shoe that would be too big, because I would want to see her, and maybe she does walk away with the this particular size for the left foot. Once we bump her up a size, it might be too big.
Yeah, sure.
Because they are going to stretch out a little bit.
Of course.
So we always take those things into consideration when we're
absolutely
fitting. This is also a great performance shoe, I think, for those.
Oh yeah, without a doubt, because you don't need to do much work with it. It's literally ready to go. And like I said, you don't need to mold it with your hands. I need to do a video about breaking in shoes actually, because I have a lot to say about that.
Looking forward to it.
Can we see some Mayas, please?
Yes. Okay.
I'm just going to grab one. So for those of you not familiar with Maya, there's Maya 1 and Maya 2. The Maya 1 is built on the Pointe model, and the Maya 2 is built on the Veganova model. The Maya 1 is what I've got as well, and what we're about to show you. So I'm just going to go and grab one, and I personally wear Mayas most of the time, although I do switch between models. So the Maya 1 features, of course, the box shape is different because it's built on the Pointe. So it has more of a semi-tapered box. It has a beautiful V vamp here. You can request it with a drawstring or without, and you can have in special order if you wanted it with a different drawstring, that's possible. We have a medium height of the vamp. The box paste is the traditional box paste, which is same paste as say traditional 2007 or the Elite model. It also has like medium height, I would say medium height side quarters, high heel. The wings are fairly high, but not as high as some of the other models. It also features a more broader platform. Now the platform width is determined by a few factors such as the shape of the box and the profile height. It also features a shank that is like the shanks we get in 2007, 3007, where they mold nicely at the arch with a fairly easy roll through. Takes me personally about a week before I get a beautiful roll through. Again, shank strengths in this one, they vary: super soft, soft, medium hard, super hard, and super, super hard. Of course, you can customize the shanks as well in special order, just like you can customize many aspects of the shoe. I've been wearing Maya 1s for many years. It's my kind of go-to shoe. I customize mine, and at the moment I'm wearing a pair in bubblegum pink with some customizations. I also have the vegan sole. I also wear other models as well, but this is like my go-to personally for me. It also, some customers tell me that they find the box a little bit harder, and if you're used to a flexible paste box or semi-flexible paste box, then the box paste will feel a little bit strange at first. But it's a really beautiful shoe. Again, it's a very popular model. The profile height is higher. So this is a great shoe for those of you that need to try shoes with a higher profile height. This will be a good model for you to try too. So let's take a peek.
Okay, so I put 2 different sizes on her because a little bit of space between your feet. Thank you. The left one was super, super tight on her foot.
Oh, wow.
Half a size, and I personally think it's too big. that's the first indication that this model would not particularly work for her. And one thing I wanted to point out too, of the shoes that we've put on so far, the Alice, the Dream Point, and the Nova, none of those were the same size and length, or length and width. So just because you wear one size in one shoe does not mean you're going to wear the same size in another model. So I just wanted to
very
put that out
important,
there.
especially
Again,
with Nikolay shoes as well, because they do vary in models.
They do. All right, so we have the two different sizes of the Maya ones on.
And yes, you can request vegan in this. I wear the vegan. I just showed you guys. This is a vegan sole here.
Yes.
Sorry, carry on.
So we have the profile of the Maya. You can see how I can stick my fingers in both of these.
Yeah.
So that's an indication that this profile height is too much for this.
It is definitely. But this is great because we get to show people this, right?
Right. I'm going to have her turn to the side. I want to see your right foot and keep going. Okay, you see on the right foot right here how her metatarsal area right here.
Yes.
That's another great indicator. It's not the right shape of a box for this particular foot. But we have a lot of students that wear the Mayas. It's a wonderful shoe. It's also a great shoe if you have that really hyper flexible banana foot. For us that we've noticed with a higher profile. Let's turn back around. Okay, so we're going to have her step up on point.
Yep. I could see her go straight down.
Yes.
So you guys, with regards to sinking, what we just saw here is when her weight went downwards in the shoe. This isn't always because of the width or the length of the shoe, but it can also be due to the profile height and the shape of the box. So if you're getting this problem, there are many remedies for this, but please don't wear shoes if you're getting this problem because it will hurt. Right.
And I'm going to, for the shoe that we just did with the Dream Point, I'm going to show how the shank here does not really touch the back of her foot very well. You can see,
I can see that.
She sinks down. This is a perfect example of when the shoe controls you
and
you don't control the shoe.
Definitely. Okay. Yeah, I can see this. Can we see from the side on point as well, please? Can you see, guys, how she's literally just sat in the shoe? She can't pull up. She's just plonked there, if that makes sense. And this is what we don't want. So if any of you guys watching are feeling this kind of sensation, or your feet are looking very dropped, then you need to get refitted. Can we see from the front in parallel? And again, you can see how she's not lifted up at all. She's just down.
Yep.
Turn that to first position. Yeah, it looks uncomfortable. We'll have you come down from those now.
She was asking to come down.
I could imagine just seeing it straight off from the beginning. She went up. I was like, we won't keep you up there long. So that, guys, is the Maya one. Also, I just wanted to mention, guys, about some important information that if you're just tuning in and you didn't know about it already, the only way for you to get in the USA real made in Russia Nikolay shoes from the factory in Russia is to go through a Nikolay retailer. I cannot stress that enough. Please do not go for any of the fakes. If you didn't know about the fakes, there are shoes out there right now that, I mean, mine say Grishko because obviously I'm in Europe, but yours will say Nikolay here. And underneath, you will have made in Russia like I've got. Can you see this? Very important. If it says handmade or anything other than made in Russia, then you know that your shoes are not the real deal from the Russia factories. So please, 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 please be aware of that. Also, if you're in America, you want to be purchasing your shoes from American retailers of Nikolay products, not from Canada or Pennsylvania or anywhere else. Please you know, work with your American retailers if you're in America. Of course, if you're in Europe, you can deal with Europe retailers. If you're in the UK, you can deal with me. So there's many options for all of you people all around the world. We can help you find authorized retailers. If you have any questions about finding your nearest retailer, drop me a message, drop Nikolay World Instagram a message, or you can email us, go on the website, Facebook. You know, we return emails and messages very quickly, so we will be sure to find you the authorized retailer near you. So someone's asked me a question: what do you suggest for men getting fitted? All of their shoes hurt. So if all of your shoes hurt, then obviously it sounds to me like it is a problem with the fit. Now, men doing point is not, you know, it's very common now. I fit a lot of guys, but what I have noticed is when I'm fitting guys is we often do custom order, because it's very, I mean, in my opinion, it's very unlikely that I'm going to find something off the shelf that is going to be perfect enough. And also size wise, because of course, I don't stock loads of larger sizes because I don't sell as many, so I work around that and order in what is going to suit you. So tell me about the pain if you're still watching, tell me a bit about the pain you're kind of getting. Yeah, so let's have a look at what are you trying on now?
We're trying on the Novice. That is
oh yes, great. I do that one as well. Let me grab one
as well.
So this is Novice.
So I will let you explain to those that are watching the differences between the novice shoes from what we've had on in the past, and just the different components. You can tell it's a much longer vamp.
So a Novice, here's one here. It's based on the 2007 last. It's like it suggests, Novice. It is more of a beginner shoe. However, I have fitted even adults in this who have either stiffer ankles or flatter feet or not as strong feet, and they need something a bit softer. You want to, like, this isn't a shoe that is going to be for people who do a lot of point work, hence why it's called the Novice model. It's the same shape as 2007 last, but the box paste is not taken up as high. Can you see how I can squeeze this top part here? And the vamp is, as far as I know, the same height as the 3007 vamp. We have high heel, medium kind of side quarters. The shank comes in one shank only in the Novice, just so you know. It comes in the super soft. It's very, it's bendy at the 3/4, but it still has a lot more strength here. So it's stronger than Alice, just to let you know. It's also stronger than, say, 3007 Pro Flex, because the portion here is more solid construction. So it's still got nice sturdy support, but has a nice flexibility in the arch here. It feels on point exactly like 3007 models. The wing height is softer because it was designed to be more of a beginner's kind of feeling in the box here, to not put too much strain on the metatarsals. So yeah, let's see this.
There you go.
So obviously with the heel in these, we're getting a lot of heel, a lot of fabric there.
Yep, all three here.
Which, as we spoke about earlier, sometimes we get that even when the shoe is the right length and width. Sometimes it's to do with the height of the heel fabric, so not always to do with the size of the shoe.
Getting nice and over on her platform.
I can see that. Good. Very over. Her instep is pushing forwards, ankle bones forward in line with the big toe.
Right here. And we talk about that a lot, about redistributing your weight towards your big metatarsal or your first metatarsal. We see a lot of girls coming in that we call, you know, they're winging out. And again, that causes stress on that lateral arch.
Absolutely. So how's it looking from the back? Is it looking nice and straight?
It's nice and straight. A little bit, you know, again, with the different size feet, you know, slight twisting on the right, but I think once the shoe's broken in, that will work itself out.
Can you guys see how she can pull up more compared to the Maya 1? Because the Maya 1 was literally making her sink and sit in her shoes.
This is one though, again, I would recommend we would go up in length, especially because of the left foot, just to see it, because it's a little short.
Can we see from the side in parallel? Nice, she's very pulled up. Yes. Let's pop the heels on and let's have a little peek from parallel from the front.